Alright, so that's what we did yesterday. Took stuff out. Today we are doing three-term factoring. Okay, so three-term factoring has to be in the pattern of something like x squared plus 5x plus 6. Okay, so it's got a squared term, it's got just a normal x term, and then just a constant. So it's going to look something like this to do three-term factoring. So it turns out, remember when we FOILed last chapter?
Yes.
Like two of these things together? Remember that our answers usually look something like that? Okay, so really what this is like is reversing the FOIL method. Kind of. A factoring, remember, means what times what equals this thing. Like factors of 20 or 5 and 4, or factors of this 3xy times 4x minus 3y squared. This times this equals that thing over there. So yeah, factoring is kind of like dividing, yes. Because it's asking the question, what multiplies to get that? Polynomial factoring, same idea. What multiplies to get that? Okay, here's how it goes. So for the first term, you say, what multiplies into x squared? Okay, and that just goes in the front. Remember, like first, outside, inside, last, all that stuff. And then for the back, you say, what multiplies into 6?
3 and 2.
Or
2 and 3.
6 and 1, 2 and 3, 3 and 2. The order is not going to matter. Because the x's up front are the same, if I put 2 and 3 or 3 and 2, that doesn't really matter. Because the fronts are identical. So the order doesn't matter. So it's 3 and 2, 6 and 1, those are options. But also like -3 and -2, that would also multiply to 6. You guys see what I'm saying here?
No.
Those also multiply to 6, right?
Yeah.
So 6 and 1 work, or -6 and -1. But the other thing that needs to happen is they have to add up to +5. So which of these pairs adds up to +5? 3, yeah, the first one, 3 and 2. So you just put, because they're both positive, +3 plus 2. And that's it. Okay, but guess what happens? What happens though if I put a minus right there? Okay, what multiplies into 6 that adds up to -5?
What?
What multiplies into 6, these things, that could add up to -5.
-3,
-3, -2. So I just changed the problem. This used to be a plus. If it's a minus, then these guys would both have to be negative. Okay, let me change it again. Let's make it tricky. What multiplies into -6? That could add up to -5.
-3 and 2. So it stays
Does
negative.
that add up to -5? No.
Oh.
What multiplies?
6 and -1.
6 and -1.
Or -6 and 1.
Right. -6 and 1. Does that multiply to -6?
Yeah.
Yes, it does. Does it add up to -5?
Yes.
Yes. So in that case, it would have to be, you see how this works? -6, +1. If you're really good at like your times tables, this chapter, this stuff, yeah, the whole chapter is a lot easier. If you're a little rusty on your times tables, it'll be harder. Well, also if you're good at adding and subtracting in your head, that helps too. All right, let's get rolling.
Straight discs. What's this being distributed?
Is it a math problem?
It's Russian,
So it's king.
so it's Canadian.
Okay, number 1, a squared plus 8a plus 15. All right, so on today's, the front, there's not going to be much mystery for the front. It's just gonna be what goes into a squared, a times a. So, we don't have to think about that too much. Later on, it's gonna get more complicated, but not today. Do you guys remember the question I asked for the back part?
What goes into 15 that can add up to 8?
Right, what multiplies into 15?
5 and 5.
3 and 5.
3 and 5.
Not 5 and 5.
Could have been 15 and 1. They usually like the numbers in the middle, like 3 and 5 instead of 1 and 15. So, does that add up to 8?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, some of these answers today are going to be prime, just like yesterday. There are a few answers that nothing's going to work, so you're just going to leave it alone. We're going to write prime down. I think there's like 2 and 2, 2 odds, 2 evens that are prime, I believe. Yeah, no, 3 evens. 1, 2, yeah, 3 evens. Okay, number 3. A squared minus 4a plus 3. Okay. So a and a goes in front. What multiplies into 3? What goes into 3? There's not a lot of options here. It's just
1 and
3 is prime, right? 1 and 3. But it has to add up to -4.
-3, -1.
Right. 3 times 1 is 3, but also -3 times -1 is 3. And if we use the negatives, that would add up to -4. So we have to use -3 and -4. Guess what happens if I FOIL these two guys right here?
It'll make that.
Yeah, let's go back to that. You could check it if you wanted to by FOILing all these. Number 5. B squared plus B minus 20. Okay. So what's the question I'm going to ask on this one?
What goes into, what multiplies by -20 that adds up to b?
No. What goes into -20 that adds up to
Positive b, I don't know. 1b.
1. What multiplies into -20 that can add up to 1. So what's the first thing you think of can go into 20?
1 and 20.
1 and 20, what else?
5 and 4.
5 and 4, right? 10 and 2. Usually it's, for some reason the book likes to choose like the numbers in the middle. Instead of like 1 and 20, they're far away. 10 and 2 is more likely, 5 and 4 is more likely. So how can but it's -20, so what does that tell us?
One of them has to be.
One of them would have to be negative. So it could be -5 and 4, it could be -10 and 2, or 5 and -4. Which of these adds up to +1?
5 and -4.
5 and -4. So I'm going to put +5 and -4. Does the order matter? Is b minus 4 times b plus 5 the same thing as that?
Yes.
Yeah, order of multiplication does not matter, right? If I put b minus 4 in front, it would still be the same thing. Number 7. A squared plus 2a minus 8.
Number 7.
Okay, so what can multiply into -8? -2 and 4, or 2 and -4. Which of these adds up to 2?
2 and -4.
2 minus 4 is -2. -2 plus 4 is +2. And we want +2. So it's -2 plus 4, or +4 and -2. If you guys can get this in your heads, it'll
I
help you.
kinda get it, but it's also difficult.
Facts.
It'll help you in your future math endeavors. X squared plus 7, because this stuff comes up a lot later on. They do a lot of polynomial stuff in that later algebra. Okay, so what question am I going to ask?
Go multiplies into 4, that equals 7x.
Well, multiplies into
7.
4, that adds up to 7. There's not a lot of stuff that goes into 4, right? What goes into 4?
2 and 4.
No.
1.
Gosh, 2 and 2.
2 and 2, or 1 and 4. Which adds up to 7. Okay, not 2 and 2 and not 4 and 1, right?
Right.
So it's prime. So, you guys hear me earlier, I said there's going to be 2 odd primes and 3 even primes. So we got one of the odds down. Number 11, x squared minus 9x, 20. Okay, what multiplies into 20? We did this one earlier. 5 and 4, 10 and 2.
120.
And 120. But it has to add up to negative 9.
5 and 4 positive. Oh,
5 and 4 add up to positive 9, so how do I make it add up to negative 9?
make one negative. Oh, wait, that wouldn't work. Make them both negative.
Right. Factors of 20, you could use positive 5 and positive 4, but you could also use negative 5 and negative 4. That also multiplies 20, right? And the two negatives would add up to negative 9, so it's minus 5 minus 4. Y squared equals 7y.
Did you just whistle what we've been seeing the whole class?
No.
Yes, you did.
I whistled something, but I'm sure
Oh, yes, you did.
something.
Mr. Jordan, can you give me a hard.
It must be the same tune, but I don't think it's
Can
from
you
the
do it
same
now?
source.
Please, just do it.
No.
Just for grid.
I'm singing a song from like Disney version of
Sure.
Jack and Lady stuff.
Sure, Mr. Jordan.
I can Google it for you.
Yeah.
What goes into cadence? What goes into 10?
5 and 2.
Does that add up to 7?
Yes.
Yes, so it's just plus 5 plus 2. Maybe you guys are seeing it and you think of that. X squared minus 3x minus 30. Okay, let's make kind of a lot of things go into 30. Let's make a list. What can go into 30?
So 15 and
2 and 15.
Okay, 15 and 2, let's,
15 2.
I'm gonna say 15 and negative 2 and negative 15 and 2, because this is negative 30. What else?
Then 1 negative 30 and negative
1 negative 30, negative 1 and 30,
5 and 6.
5 and negative 6, negative 5 and 6. Anything else?
No.
Okay, which of these adds up to negative 3?
I don't think any of them do.
That adds up to 13, negative 13, negative 29, 29, negative 1, positive 1.
So it's prime.
So it's prime.
Yes, I said. Are you gonna say that every time he says prime? Absolutely. Are you? Absolutely.
Well, we're out of odd primes, so I'm probably not gonna say it.
Wait,
We're out of
15
odd
is
primes.
Yeah. We just did it a second ago. 17. Uh-oh, panic time.
Wait, 3 and 10 going up. 30?
A lot of stuff goes in 30, but nothing adds up to
This
negative
is always
3.
my energy hour. It actually hurts so much.
I didn't write down, we didn't write down 10 and 3, did we?
No.
10, negative 3, negative 10, 3. Still doesn't go into 3. Doesn't add up 3. Shh, hush. Alright. What's different about 17?
They both have x, or it's squared maybe?
The last two terms have a y and a y squared. And like, the problems that we've been doing have just looked like this without a second variable. But it's gonna work pretty much exactly the same way as this problem. It's just gonna change a little bit, so let's do one. Alright. So guess what I'm gonna put on the front? What goes into x squared?
X and x.
X and x. So on the back, we're saying what goes into 100 y squared. So it's basically the same thing as what goes into 100?
2 and 50.
2 and 50, what else?
10 and
Okay, it's got to add up to 20. So what else besides 2 and 50?
Oh,
10 and 10.
10 and 10, right? Okay, but instead of putting 10 and 10, guess what I'm going to put? Right. What goes into 100 is 10 and 10, but what goes into 100y squared is 10y and 10y. Shh.
So that's just the answer.
Okay, yeah, notice when I FOIL this, when I do the outside, I get 10xy, and the inside I get 10xy. That adds up to 20xy, so that's why there's a y in there.
Oh, I got it.
So really though, you just need to look at the front and the last, just like all the other questions. There's just a letter on the end. If you forget that letter, you only get half credit, so don't forget. Alright, 19. I think all these are like that one. 19 x squared minus 18 xy.
Wait, that's not like
Whoops, that's 20. Minus 50. Ooh, this one might be challenging for us. Okay, this is not a prime. What can go into 19? Or sorry, what can go into 96?
2 and 41 and a half. I don't
2 and 48. 4 and 24. 8 and 12. Is that right? Yeah, that's right. 8 and 12. Remember your 12? Probably not. Alright. Do any of those add up to negative 50?
2 and 48.
Yeah, if we make both of these negative right here,
Yes, that is not.
that would give us negative 50. So, alright. What did I do wrong?
Nothing. It's immaculate.
Yeah, I didn't put a Y.
Oh, yes. Yes, Master Jordan, yes.
One more. Actually, before I do 21, look at 23. You guys see it? You guys know how we would factor that one? You just write it in order, like normal. You just flipped the numbers, yeah. So it would be x squared plus 18x plus 56, and it'd be normal question. So don't let the order freak you out. Okay, 21, a squared minus 14ab. Minus 72b squared. Okay, what goes into 72? Something comes to mind right off the bat for me.
9,
8, 9.
8.
One of them would have to be negative, right?
Uh-huh.
Can we get 14 out of that? Negative 14 out of that? No. So we're gonna have to think of something else.
Isn't it? I want to say. I want to say 14.
6 and 12.
6 and 12, yeah, that's true. One of them has to be negative. Can we get 14 out of that?
Nope.
No. Something else.
So it would be the 2 one, right? What's I can't think.
I would. Pay attention. Huh?
2 and something.
2 and 36.
2 and 36. But you can't get 14.
That's not 14. So 1 and 72, that's obviously not gonna help. 2 and 36. Does 3 work?
Probably. I think it does. But
I feel
4 and
like-
18.
Yeah.
4 and 18 works. And that gets 14.
Okay. Yeah, 3 works because 7 plus 2 is 9, and 3 goes into 9. So it'd be like 3 times 24, I think.
4 and 18. 4 and 18.
4 and 18.
That works.
Which one do we need to be negative?
And they 18.
18, because it's a negative 14, so we need the bigger one to be negative. So 4 and 18. So A plus 4, B, and A minus 18B. We got 17 minutes.
I wrote it down.